Good evening and salutations, my Days of a Last fans. So, this episode wasn't too interesting, but it was a couple of things I wanted to talk about it. First of all, this whole thing with Sloane is so absolutely acidine. It is so stupid. It's, I don't really understand how we got, in the beginning, badass, sexy Sloane to whiny, insecure, weak version of what we saw when she first came. It is absolutely insane. She is sitting at the bar with Melinda, whining and crying about, oh, he puts you before me, he puts the baby before me. It's a goddamn baby. You're telling me this grown ass woman is jealous of an effing newborn? Oh, this is so stupid. And for me, this makes me look stupid in a lot of ways. Okay? Last year, listen, when it came to his days, I was praising it like no tomorrow. I was like, man, I mean, I like GH or whatever. I mean, it's just okay, but it's kind of sucking compared to Days. I mean, I grew up with GH, and I've been watching that show for years, and Days is just killing it. Now it's like I wake up in the morning and I start watching this show, and I'm just like, yeah, I remember when I said that too. Um, and then out of nowhere, this weirdo chick that hung out with Shen one time gets in Melinda's face, talking about, oh, you killed him and you lured him to his death and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, is this supposed to be funny? Is this supposed to be like a riff to something? Because this joke is not funny. You're just obnoxious. How long do we have to sit there and sit with this chick for? Is she like the daughter or a cousin of the show? Is she related? Is she a fan? Did she donate a lot of money to this soap opera? Why the hell is she there? That's my only question. That's probably the most important. That's probably among the most important questions. Why the hell is she there? So Teresa, such a misstep. I'm never going to get used to this. I'm sorry. It's not going to be one point. I don't think there's going to be one point when I sit there and say Teresa without cringing a little bit. But she's over at Brady's and she is complaining because she thought that Alex is going to marry her and blah, 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 blah. And Brady's like, do you love him? She can't even answer that. So I'm like, wait. So you telling me that you got all upset because you thought he was going to marry you and he didn't, and you don't even love him. So I'm sorry. What are you mad about again? Because I'm very confused. Um, talk about that. Talk about Tate. Um, here's my notes. Before that, Brady was sent to talking to Marlena about how much of an idiot he is, and was in that situation when he got angry at Kristen, started going back and forth, and Rachel came and she got upset because she saw her parents fighting. I'm like, and granted, the hee haw does not just go to Brady, it goes to Kristen as well, because let's be honest, she did kind of initiate that whole thing, right? I do believe in self control. So yeah, Brady, you get the hee haw as well. But Kristen didn't help the situation. So he's upset, and he does sit there and talk about the letter that he got from Tate. A lot more harsher compared to Teresa. I'm like, well, bro, you put Rachel, you made Rachel your favorite, okay? So there's going to be a level of resentment. What part of that do you not understand? I don't get that. I also don't even really understand why they even bothered to get Tate and Holly there in the first place. If they were going to have them there for a little bit, have them at a good place, and then just nix them for maybe a couple like months or whatever. What's even the point of bringing them in? And I gotta sit there and tell you, with Days of Our Lives, things that make me a little nervous. Things that make me a little nervous between that and the whole lawsuit thing. And I'm like, people come online and they go on these like Instagram. This stuff I see like on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. And they're constantly complaining about this person, that person, things of that nature. I'm like, I sit there and make a comment. And granted, this was a separate comment about another soap opera. I'm like, y'all do realize there's only 4 soaps, right? And only 3 of them on the air. It's soap operas isn't extinct. It's going to stink. Okay, it's an endangered species at this point. That's literally what it is. But it's just one of those things where it's like Rome does the whole romance of Kate, because let's be honest, somebody got to be having romance somewhere in this episode. somebody gotta be having some sort of light levity romance in this episode, because it damn sure was not Ava and Stefan. Just wasn't. And now she's worried because she gets a call from the hospital that Trip hasn't reported in. She's wants to go back to the hospital, and Stefan's like, it's a bad idea because, we're supposed to sit there and be in love and supposed to be a thing, and you waiting by the cop's side is not a good look. Of course, um, her being at the hospital probably didn't help, and Stefan should have probably got out of there as well. But whatever. Damage is done. Oh, and here's an odd scene, right? And I say this is an odd scene with Alex and Marlena, because when Teresa comes over there and she leaves Alex's place, and you're not gonna marry me, and blah 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 blah. So she leaves and she goes to Brady's place, or Marlena and John's place. Let's be honest. Yep, that's right. The dude's still sitting there living with his parents. We can all sit there and say it. Um, while it's going on, Marlena goes to Alex's place to give him counsel and stuff like that. And it's not so much that it's not a good scene, because it is in a lot of ways. It also just seems like kind of an out of pocket scene. It's it's an out of pocket scene in a way where it's like, Ben used to always be really close to Marlena, always sit there and have those therapy sessions and stuff like that. And now it's like Alex is doing the same thing. He's getting really close to Marlena, having those therapy sessions, those one-on-one heart-to-heart sessions that I guess the audience really loves, right? But they're different characters, and you just put them right back together. Like, there's something about that that's just kind of out of place. Like, it works because I do believe at some point everyone needs therapy, and it's just good to sit there and kind of talk about stuff, let it out, work on yourself. Sometimes you're not always the best person to sit there and do that, and sometimes you need a little bit of help. So it's not one of those things where it's like I'm harping on too much, but it's like the fact that they got those two together to work together again, it's like, yeah, okay. I don't really know what Alex is doing with Teresa, because there's one point she's walking out the door. He's like, okay, marry me. Fine, we'll get married. I'm like, and he tells Marlena that he's doesn't feel like he's ready to be a stepdad. He doesn't feel like he's ready to sit there and be in a relationship with somebody who is not it. And those aren't minor hurdles. Those aren't little speed bumps. Those are major mountains that if you can't commit to either one of those, you shouldn't be together with this woman. That's just point blank, period. You shouldn't be together with this woman. I mean, granted, I already have enough problems with the fact that it's, the same actress that played Gwen, but even if it was her, those are still major issues that you just can't get over. So I'm like, I don't know what is it that you plan on doing, because this ain't working. Like, one or two of those things are relationship enders. At this point, you're just wasting each other's time. Of course, every time they sit there and show the actress that played Gwen, you're kind of wasting our time, but whatever at this point, right? I feel like that's about it. I can't think of anything else, but as I always sit there and say, if I forget anything, come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I'll be live streaming for an hour and a half. We'll sit there and talk about all the soaps. With that being said, I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next video.